You're listening to Producers Happy Hour. I'm Lawrence Lewis.
And I'm Sister Christian.
And we're here to help you unravel the complexities of film and commercial production.
Whether you're a seasoned producer, a production executive, a bidder, or a key part of the production team, we're here to equip you with the insights that I know Lawrence and I wish we had when we started out.
So you can navigate today's production challenges, conquer those demanding clients, and unlock the magic to seamless production.
All with a cocktail, of course. So grab a drink, say goodbye to the gatekeepers, and let's dive into the art of producing.
We've got some great guests with us today. Before we dive in, what are you drinking for happy hour?
You know, the time of day I know never matters, but since it's only the afternoon, I'm having a Coors Light.
Oh, okay.
Yep. There's some ASMR for you guys.
I'm pretty similar. I'm having a Modelo Light, so we're in the same ballpark. And we have with us from Loud and Clear, Angie Daly and Sam Gibney. Welcome to Happy Hour.
Yeah.
Are you guys joining us for a happy hour beverage?
I'm on the clock, but I have a hard cider. It's been de-alcoholized because I'm going to go exercise later. So I'm like...
Yeah.
Oh, I only exercise on Coors Light, though. So
I have a Oregon beer called Duchette's, but it's a festive winter beer.
Oh, yeah.
A festive winter ale. And I'm wondering, it's winter somewhere, right? So go for it.
Well, it was winter 2 days ago in LA. Now it's,
True.
Yes.
78. So hard to tell.
So that's what I'm drinking for sure.
No. Nice.
Cheers.
Cool. Cheers. So before we get started, if you've ever listened to one of our episodes and felt like you wanted more than what we could fit in our 30-minute show, well, we've got a little message for you.
Picture this. Close your eyes. All the resources, links, and info on the current industry news we were talking about, plus some bonus insights we didn't have a chance to mention, all delivered to your inbox for free.
Yeah, that's right. That's why we created the episode guide. It gives you more insight into each topic, each interview guest, and each industry happening that you need to stay on top of. It comes out every other Tuesday, the same day as our new episodes drop.
Go to producershappyhour.com/episode guide and we'll send you all the goodies.
Yes, we will. All right. Loud and Clear is a new digital agency delivering new capabilities in the dynamic world of social media and content creation. By infusing AI, we've talked a lot about AI on the show, by infusing AI in its creative workflows and sustained brand narratives.
The two people behind Loud and Clear, Angie Daly and Sam Gibney, are joining us today to dive into how the shift towards social media and digital content creation affect the role of producers in commercial film production like us.
Welcome to the show, Sam and Angie. Yay.
So I know I'm like on the edge of my fucking seat right now because I'm super excited now. Like I'm back in 2007 or 2008. The phrase back then was like, we need to go viral. We need to make something viral. Can we do viral? And you're just like, no, you can't.
We need to make a
viral
video, which, there's not necessarily such a thing. You make a video and the algorithm decides if it goes viral or not.
Exactly, Lawrence. So now it seems that social media, we're finding that it is just as important or even more important than the broadcast commercial that we're doing, or at least it's given the same amount of equity in a treatment. If you do not have a campaign around the main commercial campaign, then nobody's watching. The way we get our television, the way we get our shows these days, streaming services, I mean, the old model's gone. When did you start to notice the shift towards, more social media, more digital?
I've always worked in the digital space and I've done marketing for films. I started at a film studio and it used to be websites. We had to make websites for everything. Everything had to have its own website, a destination where people could come.
A landing page.
A landing page. Yeah, we need to bring people
Or a
to
splash
it.
page. Remember that, Angie? A splash page.
Yeah, a splash page.
Splash page.
So, and then I think with the smartphone technology, like the iPhone hit the market and that just sort of shifted everything. Like that and Facebook really just like taking off was like the perfect combination right around 2004, 5, 6, 7.
And with, I'd say, to add to that, the the commercial side of things, making a commercial or making a trailer. They started to put that at some stage into Facebook, and different sizes, different formats. They did that with paid media as well. I mean, that's what I started off doing, is paid media. But I remember going into one of the execs' offices and they announced, hey, there's a whole new format, whole new way of doing things, and it's called Facebook. And that was the start, I think. And around that same Angie Daly time, that 2006, 2005 time is when it all changed for me as well. So no longer was it the 728 by 90 banner ad that you would use a trailer from and plop it in, or a commercial, or a 160 by 600, or a whole buy on like IMDb, for instance. It went from that to like this whole new shift into scrolling. The migration started to become more social and community orientated than it was traditionally in commercials and the way we did things before.
And now it's funny because I'm going to tell you guys, I was a little under the weather like the last couple of weeks, since I did a lot of television watching, movie watching, and I rewatched The Social Network. It seems so dated. Now everything's TikTok, right? Now everything is like short form, these crazy, you have people's attention for like 4 seconds. Like, it's so intense. It changes so fast.
We've talked a lot about exactly that, like the banner ads, the IMDb takeovers, and, you just plop a trailer in or something. How have you seen this type of content develop over the years? It's gotten pretty sophisticated because people are learning the algorithms and learning what makes content catch on. So what have you seen and what have you adapted into the work you do?
What we're seeing now is a trend towards like organic, behind the scenes, candid moments that are shot on production, on set, like while things are being filmed. And it's all shot on phones, and it has that very like organic look to the platform. So I think that's the trend versus, Sam and I, when we started, we would spend weeks making these like motion pieces and all this very developed, stylized content that I think our clients are sort of moving away from. And which is why it's so important to kind of have a strategy and get ahead. Like, what are we going to do while we have the production shooting? Like, how can we get in there and what kind of things can we capture?
Because it's immediate, right? The moment that it's captured, it's sent, and then it's like edited and then put up. Like, people want to know stuff within a day or two of it happening. No longer is it, a month worth of edit time.
Or sometimes in real time, sister, as well. Like, some things are in real time, from press junkets to red carpet events, capturing content in real time and spitting it out to all these social platforms. I've found it's the gap of community with talent. And they're trying to squish it quicker and quicker and quicker and closer, get the IP closer to its audience and closer to its community. And with the advent of all these platforms, X as it's called now, it's all about community and what they want. And I mean, just case in point, there's a big movie, I'll not mention it, that had one version of it, and the fans decided it wasn't good and they wanted another version. And the populace decides now, the community decides. That was a game changer as well. So I think community plays a lot into the demand for content.
So when speaking about like the immediacy of it all, right, getting stuff as quickly out as possible, you're talking about when you're on set of an IP that people know and are aware of, like a TV series that people already love and are fans of. How does that change? What's the approach then when you're working on maybe a commercial project or something that's not out yet, that people don't know about yet, and you do have that time to kind of massage the material?
The approach would be different if we're working on a brand that maybe doesn't have the same fandom that like Zack Snyder Justice League, right? So it would definitely involve more, what's the intention, kind of where is their audience, what platform, because there's different ways to approach different platforms.
The actual commercial side of things, I feel it's important to note that even if it is a brand, as well as like a movie or a TV show, that there is still a fandom there, and there is demand. I mean, Nike, for instance, or Reebok or Nintendo, they all have fandoms. Doesn't matter what it is. It could be linked to the entertainment or a brand, but they all have fandoms, and they all need nurtured and they all need fed. It's insatiable now that people want to get closer to these IPs and to their talent. We're tasked with creating a strategy for that. But the TikToks of the world and everything that is trending, I would say, when it's coming from something that's getting shot and will be released later, you can't rely on trends, because trends are real time. And, what is trending today will not be trending when this is released, say, down the road in the fall. Or tomorrow. Yeah, or even tomorrow. Because the trends switch so quickly. Trends are truly not trendy until they become organically, like, viral. Like the guy going down on his rollerblades or on his skateboard, drinking the drink, playing Fleetwood Mac. I mean, that was just nobody could understand how viral that went, but that was incredible. These are really amazing things that are telling us in this game that came from the paid media side and the structured linear side of advertising, that it is all about community, and it's what people levitate to. But there's always the companies go, how did that get so big? Let's follow that. Let's milk that. It's like, you can't. It's an organic thing that happens.
It's the same thing. Harken back to the viral video days, right?
Yeah.
Well, right. It's the same thing. It's like, how can you tell what's going to happen when it happens?
Or even Barbenheimer. Remember Barbenheimer? That was actually fueled by the people. It wasn't fueled by any agency or any strategy, like Barbenheimer or whatever it was called, where people were going to see double features, completely diametrically opposed movies, stylized movies.
Yeah.
And they were dressing like it, and that was the fandoms coming together. That was genius. That's the thing that I love about advertising and social media, for sure.
Part of it can be like, if a trend is picked up by an influencer or something, then, like, you're all set, right? But I've definitely been in the influencer space for about 10 years now or so, of just like, what we used to call spokesmen or spokespeople. And that is now like, influencer, but now, like, instead of just getting a chef, you want a chef influencer. And it's like, okay, because everything, or like when I do casting, like how many likes and follows, like you absolutely have to go and look at an actor's social media before you book them these days, especially if they're going to be, if it's a product that, a pharmaceutical or something, like you definitely have to go and look at that kind of stuff too. I remember, and people said that it was the millennial generation that when it came to airbrushed beauty, like a CoverGirl commercial that used to spend millions of dollars on, didn't look real. It was airbrushed and fake, once it came out. And then there was this huge trend of going to natural light and filming in that. And then now it's just like ladies like me looking into a phone and, putting their, not just like me, but putting their makeup on. And that's what people want to see. They want to see the realness. And so is that what you attribute to the spontaneousness of what a trend is, coupled with the possibility of influencing?
Yeah, I think the market now and fandoms, they don't want to be thrown over the head and sold the way it used to be done. I think they want to be connected to the IP, connected closer in an organic way, to feel safe, to purchase, to consume. And that is all to do with how social media is playing out now. And it's getting into a game of racing to the point. That's what I call it. Racing to the point as quick as you can. 30 seconds feels like a full feature now for any people that are consuming on TikTok and stuff. Like getting straight to the point within 4 seconds is what you're trying to do. And I remember even social media ads being 20 to 30 seconds, and now they're asking it to be 5 to 10. Like it's getting shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter. And you have to cram in a message, but also not an over the head selling message. Look at this cool, organic, raw, real thing. And that's why I think TikTok's very, very successful, because they're fast becoming the next Google, because I think that's actually what they're wanting to be, because generations today are wanting to, they get their truth from TikTok. If they look at a product or they look at a movie, instead of seeing a traditional commercial saying, go and see it, and kids today know that that's made by the company making the movie and want to get that sale or that ticket sale, they'll go to TikTok and get an honest review, an honest chat about that, or an honest thought with an influencer about a product. What we used to search and find things out on Google, they're now finding things out. They don't search.
Yeah, they don't search. They don't search for things anymore.
No. Yeah. I mean, I get, like, if I need to change the belt in my washer, like I'm going to go to TikTok and say, or like clean the, bathtub out with, the jets in the bathtub, that kind of stuff. Like I just go to TikTok because it's gross and real, and people tell you exactly how they did it, all their mistakes. And you're like, great, I have learned something. And now I feel like an expert.
It's funny. You said a lot about community, but I'm wondering about like authenticity. People want to feel like they have an authentic connection to these influencers and content creators when they're talking about, but I struggle with that because this is their job. right? So, some of these are brand deals. Not to say they're not going to be honest in them, but do you find authenticity in terms of just personality an important thing?
Influencers, yeah, this is their job, but also there is a lot of honest influencers there that actually review things and aren't getting paid to do it because maybe they're a for fans by fans approach. They love the fandom anyway, and they would jump at the chance. Maybe they get a T-shirt or an exclusive. That's the big thing that I'm seeing is being offered an exclusive. That's your golden ticket. You're not getting paid, but you're getting exclusive. You're going to be the first influencer to review this product, to review this game or this movie, and because you're a fan of that, then they seek out these types of influencers that love that IP. And then they'll do it for that. So you're going to get around that and also get closer to your fans believing it because they know that their influencer is not lying or they're not selling something in a different way, and still getting paid in the back door. A lot of it is to do with what I just said. I think there are other influencers out there, yeah, that are still taking money, but I think people are smart to that as well.
I think that what you said too about the knowledge for the behind the scenes, the realism of that, and like the appetite for wanting to see how things are made to prove that it's an authentic experience that's being lived right there, whether it's a show or a brand, seems to be the trend, right, for what the social media space is right now. And so it'd be interesting to hear from you guys what you feel. Like, I know sometimes you're paired with, you're just told to do this. Great. Like this network has hired you and this is the production. Here are the producers, talk to them and work it out. Right. So when you partner like that, from that end and knowing that you're what I would consider and what I'm sure that the client considers is just as important as the show is the hype around the show. Like, what do you expect from your counterparts on the show or the brand or something? Like, what could you tell us that would be important for them to know?
As producers, yeah.
Yeah.
I would look at sort of what is the conversation that's already happening in the social space about that show, about that game. What are people saying? What's kind of the mood? And then based on that, you can say, oh, okay, so we have this one show that we work on and there's like this secondary storyline that no one really thinks is that important, but all the fans are like, we want more of this. We want more of this. So all the content that we were creating for a while was tailored to that. It wasn't even like one of the main show arcs. It was just sort of this secondary thing. Every time we did anything revolving around this storyline, people went crazy. And I was like, really? Okay. Like, this is what they want. So I think a lot of it has to do with just listening. Emotional connection and authenticity is really how people want to connect. They want to make that connection with brands. They want to feel something.
To add to that, I think not just brands, but talent, like from my experience, they all want to be real now. Nothing wants to be fake. I think when they're trying to sell any movie that they're attached to or any game or any commercial, any brand, I think just showing authenticity of the experience and basically the behind the scenes and stuff that we do and put people on sets, I think fundamentally is to get to the fandom to show the reality of the fictional thing that they're going to be watching later on, to show that there are real people behind those characters and showing those sets and those props and all the production that goes into it. It's fascinating, but it just makes it feel real. And then relating to people's lives as well by way of ideas and how we generate this custom content to reflect outside in the real world, people's lives as well. I was just on TikTok because we have to do these researches to see what's trending and things like that. And I just watched,
sure.
I just watched Dune 2 and it was a phenomenal piece of cinema. And I loved that movie. I know some people didn't, but I love that movie. But the main actor I came across, and I didn't know he was a piano player straight away because I'm a musician. He automatically talked to me more because I know how to play the piano. I know how to play an instrument and write a song. And here he is doing that. It brings me closer to you. I want to see you like that. Then all this stuff even makes it better when I see you on screen because I know behind it you're a real person and you've got qualities and got talent. And so I think all of that is I think when you go to set is to be aware of that's what fandoms of anything that you'd be shooting, from a commercial for a product or a brand to a game or whatever. There's a whole audience behind that you're creating this for. They want to see that it's real.
So when Lawrence and I go back 10 years ago, let's say, on jobs, and then we were told that a behind the scenes crew or a social media crew were coming on, or even sometimes a still photographer, we were taught to protect our part of the job at all costs.
Because at the time it was more important.
I know that both Lawrence and I, which was an oddity, I can vouch for that, were inviting. We would invite people in. We would of course, we're all here to do a job. Let's hug, but not all producers out there used to treat the side aspects, like that. They just weren't, because there's snobbery around the main project. There usually is, right?
And they still don't.
Okay. So that's what I was kind of getting at. We know, Lawrence and I know how important your job is, for sure. We're your biggest advocates, but not everybody out there feels that way, right? So when you approach and you go into a job, again, the success of the job is made or broken on TikTok, to be honest. If there's nightmares that come out about the show before it even comes out on TikTok, then people aren't going to watch it. Just to be honest. So again, I want to know how you guys navigate that.
Well, I would say, I think just what you said, sister, is so important for people to know, because we're all there for the same cause. Our group is just an extension of what you guys are creating. We're just trying to support that. So we're really working towards the same goal, just in different ways. Our team is always incredibly sensitive. Production's main role is to stay on schedule and to make sure stuff gets shot. And so our team is if talent doesn't want to participate, all good. If the producers don't approve a concept, all good. If the shoot is too small and in a too small of a space, we don't mess around. So we try to also...
Nudity, sure.
Yeah, be very, very sensitive about what's happening, because we know you guys are on a tight schedule. You have a lot going on. There's, it takes a lot of different things to come together to make anything in production. So, we try to be very, very sensitive to that, and know that the number one goal is to get whatever it is made, and that we're there to support.
Right. Well, sometimes the show is supporting your TikToks. Is how, honestly, that's how I feel people should be looking at this these days. They're of equal weight. And I know that in the last year, we have absolutely seen treatments that give social media deliverables more weight than the broadcast commercial.
Yeah. And it's we've got a crew of 100 people making the 30-second dinosaur. And then you come on set with 2 or 3 people doing the stuff that is really getting the views, really getting the likes, going viral, doing all that stuff. So, understanding that balance, even though you can execute what you're doing with a small team, and it takes us so much more people and trucks and gas to do what we do, there has to be some sort of understanding of the equilibrium, if not a greater importance to what your team is doing in some situations.
It used to probably be the traditional way was the production was the flagship, but I think now we're all part of the flagship, and the flagship now is what are we doing, be it a movie, a television show, or a brand product. We're doing this to show this to the community who loves it, and the fandom who loves it, this IP that we're all working towards, and we all play an integral part of it. And we are the result of the change in the paradigm of technology, the change in the shift in the way we access information, and it's forever changing, and it's getting quicker with AI, with spatial computing. There's going to be all these new zeitgeists of how we deliver content, but from production to even what we started doing banner ads, everything has its right place. Everything is a strong cog, but I think we should realize that we're all part of the same mission, whatever we're working on. I think that's really, really important. I hope those days and I knew this as an art director, going on set to capture social back in the day with my creative director, production would look over at us oh, they're here. And we'd be the last one, be the last one with the least amount of time to shoot the green screen footage. They'd already shot with the talent for the commercial. We had these last couple of seconds to do some stuff, and it was all rushed.
Yeah, you have two minutes, go.
But it's all serving the greatness of the end result, which is when the movie launches or when the brand launches, that you get maximum impact and joy from the people who love that IP or love that product. And we're all part of that. We're ambassadors of that. So I think that's really important, that if there's anybody listening that does have that apprehension, change is, I think, always a great thing, but also camaraderie and coming together under the same roof, because we're working on the same project. We're on that same set.
And, sister, we always talk about a lot of the time for ad agencies, it's about the experience they have on set. Sometimes you're just shooting the boards. Sometimes that's all you're doing. So the experience that they have on set and what happens when they're in the edit room with all the material, it's coming together. That's where decisions are made about how good the live action production was. So if they come out and it's like, they didn't give us any time to get anything good that we can use on TikTok, or we can't, the social stuff. And they bullied us. They didn't let us in. That's going to reflect negatively on the production company, the director, and the producer, because you didn't cooperate and share the moment with the teams that have just as much and sometimes more influence in the end result.
Have you ever wanted to take your commercial film production skills to the next level?
I always do. Based on that, we've got something special for you. We want you to join us for our very first in-person Producers Boot Camp.
That's right. It's super exciting. You're hearing it here first.
Yeah.
On Sunday, April 28th, 2024, coming up very soon in Santa Monica, California, we, Lawrence and I, are hosting a half-day immersive deep dive into the art of commercial film production.
I mean, talk about community and mentorship, right? We're finally got someone kicked us in the ass. His name's Jordan Brady. And he's like, just fucking do it. So we're doing it. We're going to be in person, and we're going to import all of our knowledge into your brains. Limited spots are available just to make sure that everyone gets personalized attention. It's going to be a very small group, so grab your seat now.
And we're so fortunate to be presenting alongside Jordan Brady's Commercial Directing Bootcamp. This workshop is your ticket to mastering the intricacies of producing stellar content at top-tier levels.
That's right. Elevate your filmmaking skills with insights covering everything from deconstructing director's treatments to negotiating agency and client relationships, all from the producer's point of view.
This course runs from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., 4 solid hours, and is only $4.95. Hell, that's a bargain. Plus, it's the day after Jordan Brady's Director's Bootcamp, so you can make it a weekend of learning and growth.
And as a special bonus, we're offering a $100 discount to everyone who is participating in Jordan Brady's Commercial Directing Bootcamp.
Head over to producershappyhour.com/bootcamp to secure your spot today.
I want to know what you guys are doing with AI. How are you integrating that in your workflow, and what's going on? Tell us.
For our business, we wanted to be orchestrators of our own vision, still be the orchestrator, still be the brains behind it, but see AI as a tool and embrace it and find a way that it just works for us as an agency. It may work for different people in different production houses differently, but people in all softwares for all production, AI is becoming a component. There's a new update with an AI feature in it, and it is scarily fast and it is amazingly helpful, but then also it is taking away jobs, but maybe not necessarily forever, but maybe to manufacture new ways and evolve new ways for jobs. But I do feel in our industry, Angie, you can correct me if you think I'm wrong, but I think all the traditional things from copywriting to production on our side, account directing, strategy, even motion design and graphics and ideation for pitches, there's not going to be the need for as many minds. But those titles will still remain. There's just not going to be a lot of them. So if you think of the social Darwinism, you don't have to be the fastest, but not necessarily the slowest either. You don't want to be the slowest. So just finding your niche, finding your pace. And I think with Loud and Clear, we're embracing it and we're finding what way it works for us in a lot of different ways, from ideation, like I said, all the way through to creation of ideas and strategy. But to put it in its rightful place and the most important thing is not to rely on it, because then you lose your sense of what the culture you're building in your company is. This is inevitable. These growing pains are going to happen. It's just, I feel we should be future bright as creatives, future bright, and understand it and use it for the best that we can.
We've talked about that. It's like we were saying earlier in this episode, is that connection, that community, that authenticity, that the connection you feel with an influencer, a content creator. We see it all the time, especially in just this podcast. Once we start putting videos out of our faces and us, clips of the show, It's like, oh, we got a lot more engagement, a lot more interest because we're human. They can see who we are. That human-to-human connection will be missed and will have a need. So, it can't all just be, motion graphics and AI influencers.
Yeah, and I don't know if you guys have ever used ChatGPT or any kind of the AI tools to try and write jokes, right? Try and write humor, and it just isn't there.
It tanks.
So, it tanks hard. So there are still a lot of, I think having an awareness of what it is and ways we can use it, but really when it comes down to it, we need the human element. We need the cultural awareness, the humor, it just isn't, and it can't do any graphics with hand.
And then also getting back to what you guys do in production and making commercials and stuff like that. That is still a massively needed entity of creation. And I see our teams taking that and taking piecemeal from it and creating social aspects of it. And so it's this beautiful big beast that is made and people take from it to create all this other great content. So I always see it as the mothership for us to then divulge and take stuff from and inspiration from to create our, in our worlds, social connection.
Just for the record, I asked ChatGPT just now to write a joke about commercial film production shifting to social media content. And here's what we got. Why did the commercial film producer break up with social media? Because it kept cropping out the important parts.
All right, Andy, that was good. That was good. Or was it? I don't know. That was it.
Or was it?
Or
yeah.
was it?
I wouldn't give it any kind of humor awards if there is. Are there awards for comedy?
Dry humor, maybe? Is it dry?
Yeah, there's a couple.
Dry? I don't know. Future Bright, I really like that saying because it is true. And every new invention scares everybody for a while, and then we figure out how to use it and how it's a tool. Staying future bright, and you guys, what you're doing, obviously, you're ahead of the game and you're forward thinking. So what do you as a company and as individuals, what insights do you have about the world of production over the next 5 years? Where do you see things going?
Oh, that's a great question. Actually, I wanted to turn it back on you guys and ask you a question from our end, if you don't mind.
Sure, let's
do
it.
So what do you guys think of, right now we're working for a virtual production company as helping them with social media and getting their voice out for this new production company that's going to open up in Europe. I wanted to know what you guys as production people think of virtual production and how that's going and how that's coming into the play from The Mandalorian to work sets. You don't have to go around the world to make a car commercial. You can actually do it in a set with real-time lighting, Unreal Engine. That changes the game. Productivity, imagination, quickness to response to whatever the client needs and changes, but also effective monetary value from spending so much money to go on sets to shoot these things across America or across the world. Now you can virtually do things virtually in-house, like a car commercial or something like that. And then also, I'll not touch on it, but volumetric video is another thing. But just on virtual production, what do you guys see, or how is that influencing your job in any way?
I just did one for Mercedes in a large volumetric stage in Atlanta, and it's amazing. The whole experience is mind blowing, all the way from previs to actually being there on the set. It's a marriage of two different types of creative people, tech people and film people. And so I think there is some challenges there that need to be worked out in terms of how we work, how we communicate. It's like, when something's, not right in the set, somebody will fucking go out there and move the rock or put a tree in front of it and we go. And that's not exactly how problems in the tech space get solved. So I think there's a little bit of a different approaches to that, and we're not speaking the same language. So, it's like, I need to know why we can't shoot this thing, and there really isn't a reason that I'm going to understand, and they don't know how to explain it to me because I don't understand code. There's a hiccup there. The cost is pretty high to really build worlds that are photorealistic, 3D, in Unreal Engine. And then if you need foreground elements, you still have to have an art department, and you have to kind of previs everything so the scale at which the art department's building the foreground live elements matches the scale of what the Unreal Engine artists are building in this. It's fascinating, and it's, at least in my experience, it's more geared to longer productions, bigger productions that have months of prep to kind of work through all these things. Whereas commercials, it's like, we got 2 weeks, and so, that gets a little challenging unless it's something creative. Like the spot I did, they were a little more artistic and a little more stylized and surreal rather than realistic worlds. But it is a fascinating process. And I think it is going to make a big shift along with AI in how we work and in the landscape of locations and shooting and filming and stages. And because if I can build one wall and everything out the window is, fantasy land. That's the way to go.
Is this something that you're embracing, or production artists you feel, in your opinion, should be embracing? Or because a virtual production is not going to, is it going anywhere, or is it going to be a fad?
Well, I think that right now it's not cheaper to do it, right? And until it becomes cheaper to do it, then people are going to go out and do the thing that they're used to doing, right? There's that familiarity there. But when I've done it, you like have 3 hours with a celebrity, and so you've spent the time doing it, and they can't physically go to the location, and spend 2 days filming it. They only have 3 hours. So I've sent crews to go capture that, and then it's built around it too. So that's another option for sure. I think that right now the cost doesn't outweigh the practicality for short form. For long form, fuck yeah, The Mandalorian, love it. Can't wait for the next one. It comes out like every year, like around Christmas time. So you're able to keep that schedule. That part, I think, is the cost-effective part of it. When it comes for short form, I don't quite yet see the cost-effectiveness. But I mean, there is an interest in it for sure. And I think that it is the future. I think that when somebody cracks that code of what Stockhouse now has, here's some fields and farms and shit, and we can just pop that up and put it there. I think that it's coming, but I don't know that today I would tell somebody to shoot that way versus practically. It would just depend on the situation. But there will be a day where it's yes, you should absolutely be doing it on a stage.
Now back to you. So where do you see this all going? You're ahead of the game. You're forward thinking. You're future bright. What insights do you have for us about the production in the next few years?
I'm a little conflicted. As a human, and I'm a child of the 80s, right? So I don't really want to spend all my time on my phone scrolling around. So I understand kind of the resistance, but But it's all these things that we're talking about, obviously social media is not going anywhere. So
I think the advent of the community coming in and X or TikTok and fans getting closer to their IPs and their talent, and it's becoming such a two-way door now, where it used to just be one way, where it was linear, you're just selling products. Now you have to listen to the audience, because the audience isn't dumb. The audience wants not a hard sell or even a fake sell. They want reality. Give us reality and let us decide ourselves. And if we feel safe in this community that we can share and we can talk about it and we can give our opinions about it, then the better for the IP. It'll go through a lot of, if it's not a good IP or it's not doing its job right, then people are going to say that. We live in a world where we can create our own narratives about the things that we like and create our own gospel for that. And that is an empirical part of where I think things are going. It is, we have to look and listen to the people consuming these products and the films, the music, the games, the brands. And then also, just to top it all off at the top, I do feel when you have a company as big as Apple and you have a company as big as Disney coming together and creating something like this headset that they've got.
He's been waiting this whole episode to talk about this.
Episode about AVP, not Alien versus Predator, AVP, Apple Vision Pro. That spatial computing is going to change and shift everything. I mean, it is, in fact, spatial computing. Everything that we do will become spatial in the environments that we're in, how we consume, how we spend, how we litigate our lives every single day and how we go about our lives every single day and what we do as a business and as a career, but also what we do and choose to entertain us will all be, you know, these will not be ski masks. I mean, I'm coming to a day where I feel in the future, whatever we're doing in production or in social media, whatever we're doing to work on these things, we will lose phones. I think my opinion is it has a shelf life. Yeah, we will look at back in the day, like in 30 years' time, people go, wow, they used this thing and held it to get all their information.
Yeah, to carry this thing around
this block
everywhere.
that is now, you know, a doorstep. Or these big blocks, you know, to have a bigger screen. Now I can watch, you know, as big a screen as I want, and I can be on Tatooine watching Star Wars with my nephew who lives in Sydney, and we can both talk about it as avatars. That changes the game. It brings the world so much closer together for creation, I think, and consumption.
It sounds like inclusivity, which is what before COVID was experiential, in my opinion. So I can see that experiential and then the inclusivity of what real-time fans can look at whenever you're on set. And you're like, within 30 minutes, there's a TikTok up of, you know, they're feeling included. They want to feel included. And when they have feedback is directly read and then acted upon, then yeah, like they are included. It is like experiential. So yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. Something to look forward to.
I'd also add, like, even what we're doing right now, having a podcast, it's on a flat screen on a laptop, but in the future, what will it look like? With spatial computing, will we all be in a virtual space and we can see each other in our own rooms? You know, wherever we are, be it out in the desert or here in LA, or maybe we're doing a podcast with someone in New York, are they all going to be wired in and we'll all see in our own personal space our friends that we're doing this podcast with?
We'll be at a sushi restaurant. We'll be at a fancy sushi restaurant.
And these glasses will come down to as small as Lawrence's glasses that you're wearing right now. Like, that's going to happen. This is the start. And then it's where we go from there. And all these things that we do and all the things that you do, how that plays a part in that future. I think it's future bright, though. I think it's going to be fantastic. I have to believe that.
Future bright. There you go.
Yeah.
I know. I want my glasses now.
Yeah. Where are they? I'm going to order them. Sam and Angie, thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate you. This was a lot of fun. You guys are doing really interesting things, and it was exciting to have you on here to chat about it.
Our pleasure. Thank you so much for having us.
People want to know more about Loud and Clear. How can they get a hold of you?
Oh, just go to rogerloudandclear.com. You have the website, but also Sam or Angie at Roger Loud and Clear. Loud and Clear with an N.
Yeah, Loud and Clear. Great. Sister, how do people get a hold of you if they want you?
SisterChristianProduces.com. And Lawrence, if they want you, how are they going to get you?
LawrenceTLewis.com. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, sister. Thanks, Lawrence.
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah. Cheers.
Cheers.
Thanks for joining Producers Happy Hour.
If you got value from this episode, please don't keep it to yourself. Spread the love by rating and reviewing us on Apple Podcasts.
And let's be honest, we wouldn't have the show without you. Your feedback helps us to keep making this amazing content.
This show is brought to you by our editor, Bren Russell at podlad.com.
And Christopher Daniels, who is our branding expert and one fabulous treatment designer.
So until next time, always remember,
making is hard.